Hello everyone again. We're here again on the Ramadan Radio Wolves with my show, the Revert family show. It's been good. I think this is the 9th week now or 8th week. It's been a long time either way. From what I thought we were going to be doing, it's just turned into something completely different. And last week we had Brother Suleiman again on the show. And last week, he gave me some of his daughter's brownies on the show, wanted to get me to have a look at them and see what they're like. They were good. So that, again, if no one's heard of it, again, it's called Delish Bakery. They're in Birmingham, but she's doing it all over the place. Really good brownies and also normal cakes. She did my sister's wedding cake as well. So that was all good, yeah? So this week, I've been looking forward to this. I've been holding him off for a while actually, and I keep forgetting because we keep saying, oh yeah, we'll come on the show, and I meant to call him, and then I forget. Then we meant to do a Zoom call, and then I forget. But funnily enough, this week was quite weird, and we always talk about how we can plan things, and then they just seem to happen. So this week I've got my brother Hamza on the show. Assalamu alaikum, Hamza. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Good. So for everyone listening, I saw Hamza yesterday in the gym, and the funny thing is, I went to the gym, and I was just going to do a bit of cardio in the gym, and I couldn't get in the gym, because I'd been earlier in the day, and I couldn't get in, and I was like, what's going on here? So I called my dad, said, can I use your code? But no, because my sister's husband had used his code. So I was like, what am I going to do? I can't get in here. And so I was there, got back in the car, and I saw Hamza in there, and I got back in the car, and I'm thinking, oh, is there anyone I know whose code I can, steal just for this session? Fortunately, I got one, and then I went in, and Hamza clocks me and is like, when are we going to do this thing? And I was like, oh damn, he's caught me. So I said, oh yeah, we'll do a Zoom call, and he says, I'm not working this week, and I went, well, there you go then, see? It was meant to happen. Yeah, we couldn't do anything about that, so yeah, God planned this, and it's good. So today, wanted to speak to you about your journey, talk to you a little bit more, and for people who can't see Hamza, when you start speaking, you need to see and ask, is this guy a white guy, right? Because from as long as I can remember, I think it's a good 10 years now, when I started going to Waterloo Mosque, and I saw Hamza in there, and I thought to myself, when he first walked in, I just thought, okay, he's just another brother in there. But then as you start looking a bit more, and you start thinking in your head, you're like, he's actually a white guy. But as you were saying, Hamza, what do people think of you? What other races have they?
I'll get all sorts. Afghan, Pakistani sometimes, live in the mountains, Turkish, Arab, all sorts.
Gosh. See, I can believe it though, to be fair. I can believe it. So, it's good. When I saw you as well, the one thing I like to point out is that you identified as a Muslim straight away, even now. Yeah, you're wearing your thobe and the toppy, which is good. Yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen you not doing that. So, and you've been a Muslim how long?
10 years.
Okay, right. So, I'm not going to ask how old you are, because people don't like to answer that. But if you think the last 10 years, so I would say you've been a non-Muslim longer than you've been a Muslim. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not 20 years old, so that's fine. So talk to me a bit about before Islam. I mean, were you religious before then?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I wasn't really religious before then. You could say I had a belief. I always believed there was a God, but what that God is, I didn't know. I went to a Catholic primary school from like year 2 to year 6. You could say that kind of had an impact on me, because I still remember like watching videos and of Moses in particular, watching all sorts of stories about the prophets, copying things from the Bible and going to mass on a Friday and stuff like that. But none of that really, like that particular religion type, stuck out and said, yeah, I must be a Catholic type of thing. But there was I knew there was a God. I just knew there was something there, but couldn't really put my finger on it type of thing. My mom, she's not religious. I've never seen her be religious. I found out later on that she was kind of religious when she was younger.
Okay.
My nan as well, because my nan actually wasn't even baptized or christened from what I can remember. And then speaking to her about a few years ago, she had a bit of a dabble with Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons, but that was it really. And it's coming from that kind of era in time. You think they'd be more kind of religious and what, but no. So I didn't really grow up in a religious family. None of my friends were religious. But I always believed there's something there.
Okay, that's interesting. They've always had a proper core of a religion, mainly Christianity, and then they go from Christianity, and then it's like a natural progression from having conversations. So having no religion and having no kind of guidance to anything, you said you thought there was a God, or you knew there was a God. So from that point, when you were growing up, was it a case of, oh, one day I need to seek something, or was it ever something you wanted to seek?
Well, this is where my whole journey to Islam really started. When I was how old was I? About 16. No, sorry, that's a different time.
Okay.
Another thing that happened when I was 14. When I was 14, I had a dream.
Okay.
And the dream was very, very like lucid and real and that. And in that dream, I was standing down by some train tracks, and there was loads of people to my right and to my left, like loads, thousands, and they all started walking across the train tracks. And I'm looking, thinking, "Yo, you're crazy! You're gonna get run over by a train or something," because it felt real.
Yeah.
And as they're doing that, and I'm not saying anything, but I'm just feeling inside that kind of anxiety and stuff about him walking across the tracks. I see this guy, and even today, like it kind of gives me goosebumps because it's so real. I can still remember it. Like just out the corner of my eye, this guy just pops his head around and is like, "You can go as well," and that just filled me like so much like confidence, and the fear went, the anxiety went, everything went, and I just started walking across. I get into the train track, and I get in between the two rails, so I'm actually on the train track now. As I look to my right, there's this massive train coming at me.
It's
like
sucker.
And I just stop and just freeze. I didn't know what to do. And then it just kind of like went through me. I'm going through first class and everything else. And all of a sudden, I just start floating up. And I'm going up to this like light, this cloud, whatever it is, but it's light. And it felt like there's some hand coming out. I couldn't see a hand, but it just felt like there was a hand there. And as I'm going to get it, bam, I just black out. And I wake up, and I still remember to this day, it was like, when I was a teenager, so I'm waking up at like 11 o'clock in the morning, you know what I mean? From like having a late night. My window's open, it's like summertime, the sun's shining, and I go downstairs, and I'm crying. I wake up crying because I thought I was dead. So I go downstairs, and my mum's in the kitchen, and I'm crying. And she goes, "What are you crying for?" I said, "Mum, am I real? I'm pinching myself. Is this real? Am I alive?" And she's like, "Yeah, of course, sure, what are you talking about?" And then that didn't scare me, but that kind of like gave me a kick at the backside.
Okay.
To start thinking like, if that was real, then what's next, type of thing. But being 14 years old, that's
Yes, that's true.
That's the stage in your life where you start going a bit crazy sometimes, and
it's a bit too deep for that period of time.
Yeah, you start experimenting things. So like, got into like all the sex, drugs, rock and roll type lifestyle and all that. But in like late night conversations with friends after having a drink or whatever, at that age, you start saying, "Bro, man, what's the meaning of life?" And I start asking these questions to my friends all the time, like, "What's the meaning of life? Why are we here?" And like my philosophical head came to the conclusion that the meaning of life is to find the meaning of life. And I thought that was really smart.
To be fair, that is quite smart.
So like, and then I get a job at TK Maxx when I was like 17, with my friend, and the guy that he was already working with, he was the same, but it wasn't like drink fueled now. He was like, "You're sober," and like, because like every other day the guy would say, "Bro, why aren't we here?" kind of thing, and that would just like start up a conversation. Like every other day, like, "Bro, why aren't we here?" And like these big conversations, like 17 and all that. And then when I was about 18. From the age of 14 to 18, I just partied hard, drank hard, you know, all sorts. I'm lying in bed one night and I'm trying to sleep, and I get this pain like all down my arm, across my chest, and I couldn't breathe. Really shallow breathing. If I took like a big breath, it was so much pain, yeah. And in that, I thought, I'm dying. Like, this is real, I'm dying. And I start thinking, oh man, I'm like so young. My mom's gonna find me dead in the morning in my bed, this and the other. Obviously, I didn't die, because I'm still here. But that kind of like made me think, you know, that was real. Before it was a dream, but that was real. Like, so I need to start really thinking now about what's next and stuff. So then that really kick-started my whole journey to Islam.
That's interesting, man. So yours is like more out of experiences that are kind of, you know, shook you into making a decision. Yeah. Was that kind of a fight or flight moment?
Yeah.
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 That's strange. Yeah.
But there was always a thought in my mind, because before I knew there was a God, but I didn't know how to get to God or what that God was.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was always like a lingering thought within my mind, but no kind of like
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still speak to that 17-year-old?
Nah, man. Well, the guy because there's 3 of us working there, we was like processing the deliveries and stuff for the shop floor. One guy, my friend who I got the job with, he was already working there. He's like, me and him grew up together like since we were 6 years old, when I moved to that street where he lived as well. And then we grew up. I mean, we kind of drifted apart a bit, because he went in the army. Okay. He was going to Afghanistan like the year I became Muslim. So that kind of...
Yeah, that's a completely separate direction.
I went to him like just before, because he came back home before he was about to be deployed over there, and I just tried to, like, you know, not give him dawah, but like, you know, bro, come on, what are you doing? What are you going there for, man? And like, subhanAllah, alhamdulillah, like I saw him growing up. So when he gave me this response, I was a bit taken back. He's like, kill ragheads, isn't he?
Literally what he said?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like,
okay.
Wow. And then his mom chimed him as well. I was like, forget this. So I kind of like went separate ways a little bit. We still keep in contact now, because he's left the army and all that now. So we speak to each other. I went to his house like not too long ago. We still speak now and again. But yeah.
But you can see him. Yeah, you can see how people get indoctrinated with things, don't it?
Big time.
How easy it is to someone to say, you know, kill ragheads. It's the same for anything. They can say kill the Muslims or kill the black guy, whatever. But it all comes down to education as well. And sometimes you hear people say in the black community that it's not our duty to educate white people about racism. But then sometimes for me, it's like you've got to still try to do your bit, just like with Islam. Same time with dawah, you don't say to someone, it's not my duty to help you find God the right way.
I don't know, this is a different discussion also, but the race thing, like to be honest, it's so ingrained in people that it's difficult to like re-educate.
Oh yeah, 100%,
you know what I mean?
100%.
I think it's different. It's slowly changing because of like in like my mom's time, it's probably like she'd be mixing with a few Asian kids or black kids, whatever. And then now in this time, like I remember, like some of the greatest friends I had were black friends, or especially in secondary school. Like all my one good friend was like Asian guy. So he's like, you kind of grow up and you're like, it's not, I don't know, it's not like way in the past, but it's still there.
Yeah, it's weird though, because like you said, when I grew up around a lot of white people, like at schools and Asians and all those kind of things, not so many black, but growing up, personally, I didn't have in the school environment racism. It was really strange. Yet there's people out there that are really, really racist, and I'm like, how does someone get to that level of wanting to hate someone for their color? Now, I know it's going off in a tangent, but it's something though. It's interesting. And it intrigues me about the psychology of people. Yeah. And, you know, environments. There's a lot of things that can do it. You've got the social aspect, Yeah, you've got the the environments.
Yeah.
People, how people are growing up.
Yeah.
So there's a systematic side of things. There's
Yeah.
loads of different factors that can cause it.
Have you seen that woman, that American woman that does those experiments?
What's her name?
Oh man, she's some American woman, man. She's on Channel 4 as well, and like she got like
What, white woman?
yeah, white woman.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
trying
yes,
to get
yes.
white people to understand
Yes.
what blacks or anyone else of color has to go through. And
Yeah.
some of the white people are like, no way, that's made up. No way. It wasn't
Absolutely.
willing to accept that this happens. And I it's not the same, but I remember when I first got like what we call Islamophobia now, when I got Islamophobic abuse, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a funny story. I used to work with this black lady. Yeah, I was in Belston, going to where I used to work there, and this is like environment share. This is like a white area, you know, white working class, you know, not very educated, kind of poor as well. So I'm walking, and this is the first day I wear a topi outside my house
Okay.
to work, right? And I'm walking, and school's just finished because there's a school nearby, and I'm walking. There's a kid on the footpath, and his dad's slightly in front, and his kid is like messing with his shoelace something, and he sees me. He goes, "Come on, kid, hurry up!" And then he clocks me and goes, "Come on, kid, hurry up! There's a Muslim coming." I'm thinking, yo, is this real? Like, is this happening? So I go through them, walk off, and I'm in front of them now. And then there's the turning and the cul-de-sac where I work. So then this guy doesn't follow me, but he starts shouting at me, "Oi, effing Muslim! Oi, effing." After everything he says, his son, no older than 7, definitely no older than 7, repeating everything his dad said, word for word. "Oh, you effing Muslim bomber," and this, that, and the other. And I'm walking, I'm just like, whoa, what's going on? Like, this is mad. And I get in, and I plonk myself down on a chair, and this woman I worked with, she goes, "What's the matter?" I go, "I don't know, this happened." She goes, "What happened?" And I told her what happened. She goes, "Now you know how we feel." I was like, oh, okay. Wow, that kind of like
Took you back a bit.
took me back a bit even more. So yeah, it's real, man. Those
Yeah.
things happen, and unless you go through it, you're blind to it. And sometimes,
That's the thing.
sometimes like at work, like I've had this conversation before. Like as white people, you don't experience that. It's an experience that sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes I remember because I didn't used to drive, so I used to catch the bus everywhere. So I go on the bus like this. Alhamdulillah, no one used to sit next to you, which is a good thing sometimes. But you can tell, like, it's even those circumstances. You clock on, like, no one sit next to me no more. Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, unless you go through it, you'll always deny it.
Yeah, I think that's a key point. Because you obviously grew up white.
Yeah.
You still are. But, you know,
Yeah.
you like, yeah, some people may say differently.
Yeah.
But you grew up and you didn't have those experiences.
Yeah.
So if we knew each other before this, and you had those experiences, and I told you, like, yeah, when I go into a shop, you get the security guard may take a few steps and watch me, or the people in the shop may stop, or people will keep away, or they have one eye open, you know, all these different things, or you get treated differently.
Yeah.
Or I had school teachers who didn't want you to go to this is literally me. So in my primary school, I had a teacher, and I was speaking to someone today about this, my dad actually, and I remember his name, Mr. Norton, okay? And he would go there, and even though I'm doing well in the subjects and all that kind of stuff, he would say to my parents, "Yeah, no, Daniel's not good enough." But I was only like there's a few black children in the class. "Daniel's not good enough, he's not going to do maths, he's not going to be able to get to the grammar school, blah, blah, blah." And I remember my dad having to go in and sit down and talk to them, and things like that. But that was like an experience of racism. And the whole thing where the parents always say, "Yeah, you always got to do twice as much as the white person," blah, blah, blah. But it's strange because at that point, then I proved him wrong. And when I told him, I can remember going there and saying, "Oh, Mr. Norton, I got into grammar school," and his face, like, you know, like the whole life just came out of him. And I'm thinking, this is a teacher. This is the person who's meant to be trying to make you attain the best for yourself, but you didn't want me to. And now when I look back and all these different things that happened, The sad thing about it is that because it's normal, I'm not there being conscious of it. It's just a normality. Yeah. So like if I say I want to go on holiday, for example, and I say I want to go to Italy, or any country, I think the first thing I think is, what's the racism like there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a normality. Yeah. It's not something that I'm consciously thinking, going.
That's mad, man. That makes me feel like uncomfortable, though.
Yeah,
but it shouldn't be like that.
It should, but it is. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And the thing now is interesting hearing your side of things. It wasn't until you started identifying as a Muslim that you had that same experience.
Yeah.
And so now it's kind of like a comfort zone for you now, though, isn't it? You expect it. Yeah. So maybe you walk around. What if these things kind of happen? You don't. Does it annoy you still?
Doesn't annoy me. It depends what mood I'm in.
Yeah.
If I want to challenge it, maybe I'll give it a challenge. But sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you just gotta have pity on them. Because like, you think, where have they got that information from? Is it indoctrination from the TV, whatever else?
Exactly.
I don't know,
it's sad. It is sad.
It's sad, but I don't know, it's difficult, man, because like, there should be a reaction to make the wrong right. Or I don't know. It's awkward, man. I'm not like a social commentator and stuff like that. Psychologist. This is awkward to say, but
yeah, it is true. I think there's too many different aspects of it to be able to be fixed.
Yeah.
So you know, we've had this whole Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that need to be changed. Like I said, you got the social aspect, indoctrination, systematic racism, environmental. There's so many different things that can have an effect on it.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to solve all of those things? Especially as the people who control at the top, they don't care about that.
Yeah. It's divide and conquer, man.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Exactly. And if money's going to be there, then I always say to I said this to my friend because he was asking about this whole Black Lives Matter thing, and he got quite annoyed with the black people doing the protests and stuff. And I said, listen, one thing that you've got to realise as well is that, and people may not agree with me on this, I say black people are literally like my 4-year-old daughter running around having a tantrum, yeah, and I'm the adult, and my 4-year-old daughter has a tantrum, and then maybe she's in the right, and then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, here you go, here's like a sweet, and then she's okay for a little bit, but I'm still controlling the household.
Yeah.
This is exactly the same kind of thing that I say about white supremacy, which people don't want to believe it or not, and black people or Asians, because it's not just black people. Yeah. There's people I speak to who are white who say, if you're not so much bothered about you black guys, it's the Asians, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to take that. Does that make me feel better or worse? I'm not at the bottom of the pile, but that's a thing. So yeah, it's a thing, but it's weird how you've experienced that with Islam.
Yeah.
So we can move more onto that, maybe another time. One thing that I'm intrigued about, Hamza is your name. Yeah. I know we've only got 2 minutes. I don't know if the story's long. What was your name before that?
Alexander.
Alexander. You actually look like an Alexander as well. That's the thing. You look like an Alexander.
I didn't look like a white guy like half an hour ago.
No, you look like an Alexander. I could just imagine if you took your hat off, one thing you'd be like Alexander. Were you into computers and stuff like that as well?
Come on, that's not a geeky name, you know.
It sounds like a geeky name. You know why I say that?
You know what Alexander means?
Well, all I know is Alexander the Great. Well, there you go, Alexander the Great.
He's not a geek, is he?
Yeah, but you know the reason why I say that? Because I was a geek.
Is he?
Yeah, and one of my best gaming friends was called Alexander, and I'm like, that's it, it's Zed. So yeah, I remember him. So Alexander.
His username?
Yeah, Zed. It was like, Zed? What's that? Alexander. I was like, okay. But yeah, we digress. Did you choose your name, Hamza?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I last one till I chose it.
Okay. What? How?
How?
Oh, well, obviously I know how. But is this a 1 minute and 20 second thing?
Nah.
No, it's longer. Okay, so we can talk about it afterwards then. That's good. That's good. So, this first half, I know we've digressed completely from the Revert show, but to be fair, last week we did exactly the same thing. I don't think we spoke about anything to do with Reverts. And it just keeps it entertaining, something different. And usually I don't try to get involved in these kind of political things, because my views are my views, and some people don't like my views. And I have these kind of debates with my family quite a lot, and different things that are happening. And I think, like you said, unless you experience these things, it's hard to have an opinion, especially when the people will say.
But even if you don't experience them, at least listen.
That's the thing, but they don't want to, because it's like an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
it's not my problem. Then it's not my problem.
That's essentially it. If it's not your problem, it's not your problem. Why, as a person, would you go and make something your problem?
Yeah.
People don't generally do that unless they're very selfless.
Yeah.
You know, people don't give to charity and do things like that unless they're selfless. It's me, myself, and my money. That's what most people think about. Yeah. Anyway, so second half we'll come back and we'll actually probably talk about things that we should talk about, inshallah. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Right, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're back again, everyone. So this half we will probably talk about a few more things that aren't digressing into race wars. Hopefully, we'll see. But before we had the break, we wanted to talk about your name, Hamza, and how that came about. You said it came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously, but explain how that came about.
So when I first became Muslim, I started joining with the Tabligh Jamaat. Alhamdulillah, very beneficial, no matter what people say. So I think it's my first time I went was in a masjid in Birmingham, and there's a small group of us. There's about 6 or 7 of us, and there's some kids on there, and they got like excited about how to become Muslim and this and the other. They said, "Oh, have you chosen a name?" I said, "Nah, not really." Few names came in my mind, like Sa'ad, because I like Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqas radiyallahu anhu, and Ibrahim alayhi salam, Zubair as well. I like those like fighter type ones. Maybe Mujahid and stuff. But these have gone through my mind. I was like, should I change? Should I not change? And then one of my good friends, Tawsif, he's like, "Oh, just ask Allah then." So it was Asr Salah, and just that week the name Hamza came in my mind. So after Asr, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, then I just made dua, say, "Ya Allah, if you want me to have a name, you choose a name for me. I don't know a name, you just choose for me. I don't know. You know best. You know the best name for me. I don't know what name to have here." I mean, I look up, and there's a book, and it's closed. You know, he can write on books.
Yeah.
No word of a lie. The one book that was on there, it said Hamza written on. Like someone written on Hamza. I was like, whoa, that's powerful, man. I ain't doing that again. so then like I ignored it. I was like, nah, that's weird. And then a good friend of mine, Saghir from Stoke, came down, and I was with him. And we were just driving in his car, and he said, "Oh, have you picked a name?" I was like, "Nah, not really. I don't really know what name to have." No, you should have a name. You know, it's good. You know. Yeah, I was thinking about one name. What name? Nah, it's alright. Don't even. It's alright now. No, go on. Nah, it's alright. Go on. What name are you thinking? I go, "Alright, Hamza." He goes, "No way. I was gonna say a name for you would be Hamza, you know." So you know. That dua is powerful. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the signs. So that's it. When I'm gonna be Hamza then.
Okay, mashallah. Yeah, you can't. If you'd have not chosen that name, then you'd have got a slap.
Yeah.
Somewhere you'd have got a slap. It's like, how many signs do I need to give you?
But it's not something I advise all reverts to do, to be honest, because it can. Unless your name is like some Hindu god or something like that, then change your name. But if it's not, then I wouldn't advise it, because it can put your relationship with your family or friends or both back 2-3 years type of thing. Yeah. So, you know, names like Alexander or John, these are just like English names of Sikandar or Yahya or, you know, whatever else kind of thing. So there's nothing really bad about them. And I think sometimes as well, this is like a little qualm I have as well, that there's not enough been done, probably because we're such a young community still, really, in terms of like it's gonna sound weird, but like when people say like a British Islam, I don't mean like change certain beliefs and stuff, but I mean like because like when if you look at the history, when Islam went to China and all around the world, they didn't import the Arab dress or whatever else in that area. They just kind of Islamized.
Yeah.
So if the people was wearing like, you know, men was wearing tight trousers or tight what they call tights or something to wear, I said no, you can still wear them, but just loosen them up a bit. You know what I mean? You kind of you just Islamicize the thing. So like, I find it hard to like find a shirt, like a collar shirt, which like is okay for Salah, because you're always making sure, is it on show, and like especially in the jeans as well, they're not always loose and like they only come down to the waist, so that makes it hard for Salah and all that as well. So yeah, so the name thing, it's not always necessary.
I didn't change my name. Mine's Daniel Lee Brown. I mean, how much more?
Daniel is the Arabic version. It's the same.
But I remember my dad changed his name, and that was difficult for him. You know, if thinking of even going to countries and stuff. For me, like I said during the break, I was saying how I enjoyed the fact that people didn't know I was a Muslim, which I've completely changed now. But at the time, I was like, you don't know I'm a Muslim, so I can get away with everything that I can do, and you won't pigeonhole me into being a Muslim. You won't say, you're one of those 9/11 people. Nothing. But you mentioned, during the break, you're talking about decolonization of the Western people being more superior. But it's a thing. It is a thing.
But it's something we should be proud of.
Yeah, definitely.
Islam's such an amazing deen, way of life. We have Quran, the best example of the Prophet ﷺ. This is something to be proud of. Because I remember there's a great story. One Sahabi, when he went to, I think, one of the Persian emperors, and he's coming in on his mule and he's dragging his spear along, cutting all the fine cushions and everything else, and he's like, you coming in like this? And like, you asked me to come? Like, we're just here to bring the people out of the slavery of mankind to the slavery of Allah. That's our job, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because otherwise, you live that kind of life. And I know, it's like you always search for something and there's no real peace.
Yeah, you just keep going for the next thing. So, why Islam for you then? Obviously, you went 17, you had these dreams, etc.
So then after that experience in bed, I started to think, that was real now. So I need to start really looking at religions a bit more. So before I started though, prior to that as well, I was into like conspiracy theories and all sorts. So you get into like all sorts of avenues with that. So you get into like David Icke and all these things and what they say about religions and everything else. So I thought, okay, before this year, I'm not going to look into Christianity, because I know from research prior to that the Bible's changed. There's different versions of the Bible. If God, in all his knowledge and wisdom, how can he get something wrong in his book? It made no sense. Then you talk about the Council of Nicaea and everything, all the history behind it or whatever. So I wasn't going to look to Christianity, because I know that book now is not what I'm looking for. Nah,
put it aside. Okay.
I wasn't going to be a Jew, because you can't become a Jew. Your mother has to be Jewish. So no way I can even become a Jew. But I reckon myself a bit spiritual. So I thought, right, Hinduism is the first one I'm going to look at. They seem quite spiritual. So I started researching into that. My next door neighbour was a Hindu. She gave me like some simple kiddie books to start me off, whatever. Then I started learning about the caste system. Then that started to put me off a little bit. Then I went. My friend from school, his mom done some cooking in the local mandir. So I went there. Actually, no, I went there prior to that. I went there because if you're gonna do something, do it properly. You know what I mean? And do proper research. So I went to the mandir once on my own, and there's a guy there in Shawar Kameez and the bindi on his head and all that. I was like, okay, this guy's a Hindu, yeah? I'm gonna ask him. So obviously a white guy going in there, it's gonna look a bit weird. So I was like, you know, really polite. For how are you? You okay? Yeah, I just want to know more about Hinduism because I'm interested in learning. No, you guy looked to me up and down. I went, nah. I was like, whoa, and he just walked off. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Maybe you misunderstood what I said, didn't hear me properly, whatever. So then when my friend's mum was there doing the cooking, she like showed me around, and then you go in, put the like a penny or so in, she showed me, and then you like pray, bow down to the statues and all that. That was my first time in like a Monday. I was like, whoa, this is like, look at all these things. And then she's like, yeah, that's it, then I'm going to do some cooking now. I was like, okay then. So I was just kind of left there on my own, just like looking around thinking, nah. Plus with the caste system, nah.
Okay.
So I thought, okay then. Next door is a Gurdwara. So I thought, right, I'm going to go to the Gurdwara then, Sikhism. So I went there, I knocked on the door. This elderly guy answered. I go, oh hello, I'd like to know about Sikhism. And he's saying, again, looked me up and down, just slammed the door in my face. I was like, yo, if that's Sikhism, yeah, and I don't want nothing to do with either of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So then, after that, it's a bit of a blur, but I know I went on to ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
All that Babylonian stuff. Spiritualism. I was on spiritualism for a long time. Meditation with crystals and wacky baki and all that as well, and just trying to astral project and all these wacky things, like lying down with the crystal on my head and in my hands and trying to get my solar plexus to come out my chest and all these things. I had some weird experiences with that though. Weird experiences. So at the same time, I went into Rastafarianism as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, man. I listened to Bob Marley, Toots and the Maytals, all the reggae music around, smoking a bit of the other stuff. I thought I'm gonna grow some dreads. Well, they take years, man. And my hair was short. But I thought, now I'm gonna grow some dreads. I wore a Bob Marley t-shirt constantly. And then when I found out that they use the King James version of the Bible, I was like,
Oh dear.
that makes no sense now.
Yeah.
And then, get into the Haile Selassie and reincarnated Jesus, and the proof is that the Ethiopians at the time defended themselves against the superpower, the Italians. So this shows in. I was like, nah, this don't make no sense now. But so this is the reggae and everything else. I like all that part. And then I kind of I looked into a bit of Buddhism as well, but that was pretty much the same as Hinduism. And I didn't get the whole reincarnation thing, and it didn't really make a lot of sense. And wasn't answering the questions I had at the time either. None of them was. And then I kind of came to like a bit of a dead end. And then my mum reminded me of a family friend. Like, she used to be my childminder as well when I was a kid. Alison. And she and her husband ran this Christian spiritualist church. I was like, okay, Christian spiritualist church. Okay, let's just find that, go and experience it. So I go in, and basically it's like a medium at the front. So it's the first part is like two parts. The first part is like a normal church service, singing hymns and whatever else. And the second part is like there's a medium at the front, and they say like, I'm getting a rose. There's a rose next to you. The rose. And you can only say yes or no. So that's like a message from like the other side kind of thing. So I went there about once or twice, and then the second or third time I was there, I was just at the back. I wanted to just like analyse it and just be like critical in my thinking about it all. And I'm sitting there at the back, yeah, and I had this wolf's top on, and she's on the stage, and she's pointing at me. I go, oh gosh, is that a wolf's top? Yeah. There's a dog underneath the chair. I'm like, hey, does that mean anything? And I'm like trying not to get anything away kind of thing. Okay, and then she described the dog. And then she said, yeah, I'm being told to give your mum some a particular type of flower. I was like, all right. And he started saying, I could see big shoulders, big pads, body armor. And I used to play ice hockey.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, oh no. How did she know that? Like, and then she starts talking about, oh, my cousin just moved to Canada. Canada's like,
yeah, ice hockey.
Yeah, it's ice hockey in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, here's football, Canada is ice hockey,
Yeah.
yeah, the national game. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how does she know this? Yeah, he started playing hockey there, and I'm thinking, oh my god, like, she knows everything about me. So that intrigued me even more. So I started to go to their little sessions on a Tuesday night, where like you sit around and you develop your own kind of mediumship.
Okay.
Right? And I'm there, like, and it's like dimmed down lights, and you just sit there with your eyes closed. And if you see anything come to your mind, like an image or a word or something, just say it. It could be for someone there. So you get people saying, "Oh, this or that," and I was like falling asleep there, yeah. But then I start having these weird things going on. One day, I'm lying in bed, I'm like half asleep, and I see this caravan, a dog, and a red car. My ex, who I was with before Islam. So I wake up. It's like, did you used to have a caravan like this? And describing, she goes, yeah. Or did you have a red car that was like this? And describing, she goes, yeah. I go, you had a dog like this as well, yeah? Yeah, how do you know all that? I don't know. I could see it in my head. I don't know what's going on. There's times when I was lying in bed, I was asleep, but I'd get up and I'd be like proper light to the feather, and I'd look down, and my missus over at the time, she was sleeping. Then I felt a knock, and I was just like blacked out, and I wake up. I was like, was I just up? She goes, were you sleeping then the whole time? I'm like, whoa, what the hell, man? This is some weird stuff. Some of the time I'm meditating crystals, like lots of weird experiences, to the point where I could be in a living room, just watching the TV, and I'll just see this presence behind me, you know, like someone's creeping up on you, and you just like turn around quick. That happened all the time to me, all the time. It was weird, man, really crazy weird. But once I start asking those people at the Christian spiritual church some questions, they couldn't really answer them, or they contradict themselves, and I was like, nah, man, this ain't for me. So I ended up on socialism and communism.
Okay.
Totally godless things.
Yeah.
Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, they were like my idols. I watched all the Che Guevara films. I read all the Che Guevara diaries. I read Fidel Castro's like 800-page biography.
Mm-hmm.
I was like hooked on them. Like, I was like, communism the way, man. Socialism, fair, justice for everything. You know, Viva la Revolution and all that. Immortal Technique was like my go-to for hip hop and everything else, because he was like proper on and everything. Yeah, and then through that, I kind of started to, because those type of movements, they get involved with like other social movements, like the Palestine thing. So that was my first exposure to Muslims. So what happened was, there was a EDL protest in Dudley because of this new mega mosque that was going to build and this and that. So like, yo, I'm going there, man. I ain't letting these guys start building a mosque. So I go there, and like there's a few like old white people, all these Asian youth come up in gangs and like, yeah, you're gonna fight and this and that. But apart from that, it's, you know, just a little peaceful demonstration kind of thing. But then I had to walk through flipping Dudley town centre, man, to get the bus back to Wolverhampton. And I had to go for all the EDL guys, and I got this poster saying no to fascism and all this stuff, yeah. And all these EDL guys are walking past me, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna get kicked in here. Alhamdulillah, I didn't. I made it out there alive. And then there was a sister from Wolverhampton. She was part of the Wolverhampton Palestine Solidarity Campaign. So I think she was running that. And then after they, remember the Mavi Marmara, the aid ship that went from Turkey to break the siege of Gaza, and he got shot up. He got boarded on international waters, and like I think 19 or 9 Turkish nationals got killed in that. It was just after that, and she got someone that was from UK that was on the boat at the time. I remember that happened. I was at work with that friend at work, I was crying, man. It was so sad what happened. But anyway, this guy came. His name was Ibrahim. I think he's from London or something. He came down. He was on that ship, and they told the experience, what happened, etc., etc. Then afterwards, yeah, I'm there. That sister there, Shabina, I think her name is. Her cousin's there, and this Ibrahim's there, and they're having a conversation. And after everything, saying, Inshallah, Inshallah, Inshallah. I'm like, why they keep saying this word, man? What does this word mean? Because it sounded nice,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what it meant. So I went home, I was like, what did this say again? And then I messaged her, I was like, what was that word you're saying? So then I put it into Google, and I was like, oh, God willing, yeah, that's nice, that is. Oh, I can't say that though, I'm not a Muslim, I can't say those words.
Yeah.
So then that kind of like got me thinking a lot more. And then I'd ask that sister one or two questions and this and that. And then by that time I was going to college now, and in that that class I was in college, there was another white guy in there called Daniel, I think his name was. He became Muslim as well, and he would always have these debates with this like born again Christian guy that was there, and he's really interesting. I didn't get involved, just listened a bit and whatever, and then that exposure to Muslims, whatever else. So I asked him a few questions, blah blah blah, but nothing really like, I want to look into this. I found communism, yeah?
Yeah.
This is the answer now to life's problems. And then one day I'm going through town. I'm working now. I had like half an hour to spare, so I'm walking through town. And there's this stand there.
5 minutes, by the way.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
So I
go.
went over. There's a store there, Brother Mustafa. Had like dawah leaflets and all that, Islam and terrorism, Islam and women, this and the other. Oh, can I get that? And then there's a Quran in English. I thought, oh, wow, I want to have that. So I said, yeah, take it. So I took it. So prior to all this, I never believed, like, I never met no Muslims in my life before that. Because where was I from in Bilston, yeah, it's all Asian Hindus and Sikhs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all, only on this side of Wolverhampton you get the Muslims. So I never met a Muslim, apart from that one guy at college. And my understanding of things that happened in the world prior to that, I didn't believe it anyway. Yeah. So I didn't have like, oh, Muslims are terrorists. I didn't know anything about Muslims, kind of thing. I never went into it. That's just the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just directing it how it is. So I took it with intention of reading it, and then I didn't read it for a while, and then where I used to live, the bookshelf was in the kitchen, and then to get to like the back room, you had to go through the kitchen. So every time I went through there, like literally there's like this voice in my head like telling me to stop and like read that, and I'd turn around, the first thing I look at was the Quran. And this happened a few times, and I thought, you know what, forget this, I'm just going to read that book now, this is strange. So I started reading it, sort of Fatiha, then he's like sort of Baqarah, the cow. I was like, oh man, this is another Hindu thing again. And I was like, so I got through that. I ended up I remember I got to Surah Ibrahim, and I was at work on like a 12-hour shift, and I was reading it, and I was like, man, I need to do something about this, because I was reading leaflets and all that as well, and I was like, this is all making sense. So then I asked that, I got back in contact with a guy from college, and he said, yeah, ring this must Waterloo. So I rang Waterloo, I spoke to Asti, brother who used to work in the office there. He said, yeah, come down. So I went down, I'm at Tawsif. I was there for, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours or something. I didn't really have any questions, just went there to experience and just listen and stuff. And then I went a few times, met another Revert brother, Abdullah, and just kept going, and by that time, but early on actually, I was like, this is it, man. This answers all the questions I have. The Quran's never been changed. This is haq, man. This is it, kind of thing. But at the time, I had a partner who just had a baby and all that as well. So I wanted her to like come on the same journey with me. But she came to the masjid, the imam there, I forgot his name, everyone called him Mo, probably Mohammed, and then Imam Mohammed something, I don't know, he moved now, I think he moved to Derby. But he spoke to her, and coming down in the lift in Waterloo, She's like, yeah, you know, I'm really thinking about it now. I was like, wow, subhanAllah. So then I needed to go to the bathroom before we left. And as I came out, we left. I was like, yeah, so what do you think then? She's like, I'm never going back there again. I was like, what? So yeah, I'm never going back there again. It's like, but you just said, yeah, but when you was in the bathroom, some guy came out, started yelling in a different language, pointing his finger at me and shouting at the imam and this, that and that. I know he's talking about me, he's pointing at me, he's talking about me, he's shouting, he's saying, I'm not going back there again.
Okay.
I was like, yo, subhanallah. So then I was speaking to Tawsif, so just tell her, you know, he's seen this guy. I don't know who it was. Still to this day, I don't know who it was. I got a good idea who it was, but I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
So that guy's seen her, don't worry about it, you know, da 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 da. But that was it, man. She's like, nah. And then I went on holiday with her for 10 days to Wales with her family. Like, it's called the Gower. So it's like half an hour from Swansea.
Yeah.
It's far away. So for 10 days, I literally got bullied by her mom.
Oh no.
Yeah, all these like little comments about Muslim women in a burqa and praying, this, that and the other. So she saw all that and kind of like got put off as well. And then at the end, it kind of came to a climax. I just wanted to go home. And then there's these extended family of hers in Wales. And she's like, don't talk to these people about religion or politics. You just get in an argument with them. I was like, okay. So I kept quiet. She brought like, there's these like sausage roll type things. And she's like, oh, you're not having none? I was like, nah, I'm not having none. Why? It's got pork in. What? So, I'm not eating pork. Why not eating pork? Just don't want it. I don't think they got pork in. Check. I think they got pork in. Nah, they got pork. So I went, checked, they got pork in. Sat down. I was quiet. I didn't want to make a fuss.
Before you continue, let me say assalamu alaikum to people listening.
Okay.
Obviously I'm recording, so we can continue afterwards, but for everyone listening, if you want to hear it, YouTube. Okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go.
So then, she goes, why aren't you eating pork? I was like, I just don't want him. But why? I said, oh, just health reasons. Yeah, but why? So then I get fed up with this one. I was like, I'm thinking about becoming a Muslim. Right? Literally, because you know them big long caravans, using one of them. Literally, like a scene from a film, man, is like pin drop silence.
Gosh.
The woman who I talked to, her husband, who was warned not to talk to these about religion and politics, he gets up and he's sitting across the table from me. He gets up and I'm like, oh my, he's kicking off now. Oh my God. Puts his tea on the table and he sits back there and he goes, well, as long as you're going to bombing people, it's all right with me. I was like, so then when everyone went home, he's like, why do you have to say that for, this and that? So then you get home and like, you know, I don't want to see her family for a few years now. Yeah. And then like every time like they go to their nans every Sunday, I used to go, I was like, I ain't going. I used to stay at home and watch Islam Channel. Yeah, and then I think about 2 or 3 times that happened, and then one night she puts the daughter to sleep, and she goes, look, you want to become a Muslim, I don't, so you got to choose. Up until that point, there was something, someone warned me as well, I don't know, it was with the Tawsif or Abdullah, it was like, you know, there's going to come a time when you're going to have to make a choice. And that was always in my head. And then it came. I was too much of a coward to say, look, you don't want it, I do, let's just go our separate ways. Because I had a daughter and everything else kind of thing. So I was like, he's like on the plate for me now. Do I take it or not? I was like, okay, I'll become Muslim. So I remember it clearly, man. It was like 12 o'clock at night. I left there. My mum lived like about 20-minute, 15-minute walk from there. It's pouring down with rain. I stop off at the BP station on the way, get some Red Bull or something. I was carry on walking, just thinking, what's going on, man? This is a dream. Like, I can't believe this is happening. I get inside, go in my old room, sleep, wake up. Mum was like, what are you doing here? Then I tell her, she wasn't very pleased. And then that was on a Sunday. And then by the Friday, I really I pondered over it more, thought about it more. I was like, nah, this is it. I've got to do it. So I rang my friend Abdullah. I finished work like 2 o'clock, half 2, whatever it was. This is Ramadan as well. I don't even know it was Ramadan.
Okay.
I did not know it was Ramadan. So I rang him, slow, I'm ready. Alright, meet you at the masjid then. So go to the masjid. And then I took shahada there and that was it, man. And then everything else that followed after that was a bit of a mad things, man.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's another show then. See,
That's
we have to bring
crazy.
you back again.
That's
So
crazy.
you can talk
man.
about the not the great side of things. Because it has ups and downs. People have different journeys.
Yeah, but like in you know, when you look back at things, you think that had to happen. I had to
Okay.
go through that.
Yeah.
Or you know, that was just a test from Allah. That just made me stronger.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it does, man. You know, like you compare your life to Sahabas, for example. The amount of stuff they went through.
You can't.
You're like, how did they do it, man?
Yeah.
I'm just coping with this little test, and that's hard for me, kind of thing. But Allah doesn't test us on what they can handle in it. But there's goodness in those things that, you know. I remember someone explained to me, like, you know, like when metal, like a sword's being made,
Yeah.
and it's being hit and all the weak things coming off,
Mhm.
and it comes out and it's hardened metal. That's the last one that
It's
testing
true.
you.
It's
It's just making you stronger. You're gonna be the ones that just fall apart and whatever else, or you're just gonna go for it. You're gonna make you stronger, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. And if it doesn't, then Allah will put something else in your way anyway,
I agree.
as another way of getting you closer to Him.
Definitely. That was a good show.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. It was good to have you on here. We should speak about things again.
Yeah. There's
Um,
lots of other things.
There's a lot of things we could talk about. An
Yeah.
hour's not. See, I told you, an
Yeah,
hour's not
yeah.
always enough.
Bro, I remember once I went from Birmingham to Dewsbury, and literally, my wife reminds me of this all the time, that you spoke about your Revert story from all the way from Birmingham to Dewsbury. That was like two and something hours it takes.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
in
good.
detail, it's long,
Yeah.
like, because many other things kind of happen. I'm just like,
You're skirting
the
over.
little, like,
Okay, we'll
main
get you back
points.
another time then, inshallah. Hopefully when we'll either have to do a Zoom call if you have another holiday, you have
Yeah.
to tell me, and we'll get you on, okay?
Inshallah.
Well, good. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa